So we were meant to be doing a live workshop, weren't we, Larry? For
yes, exactly.
London
Quite
Craft
right,
Week.
London Craft.
Larry and I have been working together for
28 years nearly enough. Oh, yeah.
Makes me feel really old. 28 years. And so we thought we'd actually bring you to the actual workshop and take you through how to make a mold handbag.
Okay, right. So this is the beginning of starting to make the mold itself. So first of all, what we do is we've got this panel, which is actually, if you can see, is actually creased up. So where the panel, where the numbers are, the letters are, is actually uneven. So what we need to do is to actually get this pressed, so it's actually totally straight. So the panel's there, and all we've got to do is just, this is hot enough, so you just see the temperature control and everything. And there you go, that's done. Now you can actually see from what it was, what it is now. It's plain. What we need to do is we need to get where the actual frame goes right in the middle with the bubbles. So we've got to get the center mark exact. So that's the center mark. So we can actually work on that particular mark right now. Okay, so this is the actual knife for the mold. Okay, so what I've done is, the mark we've actually originally done on the letterings, on top of the letterings. There's a small opening on the pattern itself, which gives me a guideline of exactly where the pattern goes and how it's going to cut.
And how old is that machine?
The machine is hundreds of years
Yeah,
old.
because where did it come from?
This is actually made it says Euston Road, London NW1.
Yeah, you see, we used to have
this
all
is where
those trays in
FJ
those days.
Edwards Limited.
Yeah.
So you've never ever see this thing
No.
anywhere.
And that's pretty heavy, right? I mean, that's going to...
This is very heavy.
You need a reinforced floor.
Oh my
for
God,
that.
to bring it here was a nightmare. Right, so now what happens is we slide this thing in, and all we do is adjust it, and there you go. So, okay, right, so that is the panel actually cut, yeah? So now what we do is actually cut already. So we'll actually take it onto the working block. So what we do is with a knife, what we do is we actually go exactly, it's got to be exactly to the mark. Right, there we go.
Such beautiful satin as well, isn't it?
And the top is, there we go, this is the top. Sorry.
Silk satin from Lake Como.
Yes,
Very
there we
beautiful.
go. We actually put this pattern on top of the actual body. Okay. And then all we do is mark with a sharp bradawl. Then where the holes are, that's the AH logo, which slips into these holes nicely. So that's the logo which has just gone in. So then what we do is turn it on the back. So that logo has got a back plate on it. So the back plate is actually goes on top of the thorns. We just bend them slightly, just bang them slightly, so they stay into shape. And when you actually turn that, there we go. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go into the machine now. So what I've got is I've got pre-cut boards which are shaped, yeah, to go inside the bag. It's threaded in. There we go. And it goes into the bottom one. It's going in, and now it actually goes into the little hole there, and then for the middle. Okay, and then right, okay, it's threaded in now. There you go. It's perfect stitch, and there's no oil marks or anything. Now this is the actual piping. That's the main body of the bag itself. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the piping all around. We've got the piping all set, so just shape it up a little bit. So my dad was actually, traditionally, we are actually cobblers by trade. So everything in our generations is to do with leather. My dad used to make handbags when he was in Kenya. So I learned it from there. So I used to watch my dad work and stuff. And I used to I make a bag, and the first bag I made was for my sister, and she still got it actually. When I was about 16 or 17 or something like that.
Do you remember the one you made for my sister's wedding?
Oh, Mrs. Robinson.
Yeah, do you remember? And it said, here's to you, Miss Robinson. But also we had to buy all the fittings from B&Q because we didn't have any of the fittings, do you remember? And they were like studs, brass studs. They were meant for beds, I think. We made them into a handbag. Still got that bag somewhere.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Little white spots.
That's memories. That is serious memories, Anya, seriously. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to stitch these bits which goes inside the bag. So what I have actually got is I've actually got cuts there. So this sits, the body sits right inside where the markings already are. So that's the top, this is the bottom. That gets stitched onto the main body now. Okay, so these are the two panels, yeah, so that is the top, that is the back. So these are two going to be stitched together now. So the actual main core body of the mold is actually made now.
So few people know how to make things these days.
Exactly. There was a company called Ian Mankin. They used to do casework, like make jewel boxes, leather attaché cases and stuff like that. So that's where I learned the box work, like the traditional jewel boxes and stuff like that. Ian actually moved on from all the leather bits to just clothing only. And in the same building in Oxford Circus, there was a guy called Andrew Seuss. I knew Andrew used to say hello and whatever stuff, so I thought, let me just go and ask him if he's got a job for me. And yeah, so I started with Andrew and was with him for many, many years and stuff.
They used to supply Aspreys and all of that.
Exactly,
yes,
exactly. Aspreys and Fortnum and Mason and you name it, all the big stores used to make all the cases for them. Then he moved me to his factory in Westmont Park.
Powers Terrace.
So Powers Terrace.
22.
Yes, the one, 22
so 22?
Powers Terrace, exactly. And he said to me one day, he says, there's a young girl, she wants to make some bags done. So I said, okay, I'll give it a go. So that's where we met, Anya.
Well, so we just made friends immediately. Fun if I was a consultant at Lorna for a bit, so I've done the same journey. Do you remember Rose's Fittings, the amazing fitting shop? Which I mean, we watched the demise of that trade actually. But we met in Andrew's, and then we started working together.
Exactly.
And I remember I used to meet you in Ladbroke Square,
We would
reverse our two cars together.
No, my God,
and in my boot, I had all the raw materials, and I would put them into your car, and then you would empty up all the finished goods. And I think they thought we were doing a drug deal.
And then the London Fashion Week started.
Oh my God! I used to come here for supper every night. Do you remember? He used to feed me every evening.
Exactly.
I'd drive down to collect the bags.
Exactly. And you know, the last minute, we finished that bag. We finished from London Fashion Week, the order. We finished that bag there, so all of a sudden the cab would actually be waiting and actually collect the bag, and it's actually in the show. You know? And then the first show Anya did was all of a sudden, she said, I'm coming home. And what a success day that was, isn't it? After the first London Fashion Week. And I came home and my God, excitement. Excitement. We had dinner together and all sorts of stuff.
It was special memories, my God.
Special memories.
I mean, but also some frightening. It was so busy and stressful at times, wasn't it, actually, when you think about it?
It was.
We have to tell one more story and then we'll stop. But the story of the Clothes Show Live. Do you remember the Clothes Show Live?
Yes.
So Clothes Show Live was this TV show back in the day and was the only fashion TV programme. It was like mega.
Yes.
And I remember, I mean, I was quite young. It was years ago. They were asked us to go on it. Do you remember?
Yes.
And so they said, yes. Can we film at your workshop?
Yes.
And we both went. Well, it's a bit difficult because it's in your house. Maybe it feels a bit small.
Yeah.
So we pretended and set up a workshop.
Yeah, exactly.
And you drove all these machines.
Yes.
All the way to the workshop.
All the way to the workshop.
And we set up.
And your brother William actually.
We all moved it in our cars.
Set up
and we pretended that was our workshop. Do you remember for the day?
Exactly. Yeah. These are all our bags, Anya's bags.
So
look at the different colours.
Yeah.
Look at the different colours. Yeah, this particular one. So what I actually did was, because all these bags were like initial bags, which is samples for the London Fashion Week. Yeah. And what we did was actually collection. They're so colourful and stuff like this. I put all of them on the table, and I said, "Oh my God!"
Your own work.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
And there's so many different styles we did. You know, and each and every style sold in there.
Yeah.
You know, in the shops and everything.
Yeah,
you know?
Let's say, I'm so glad you found those. They're lovely.
Yeah,
there's the mold.
That's the mold. That's the mold
we're making today.
This is going back here 2000, January 2000. So it's 20 years ago.
Stars that give bras the push.
Exactly.
Those were the days, right?
Those were the days, yeah. There we go. Oh, that's the one we won the accessory award.
Yeah, I remember that.
Remember? Yeah.
We've just been
That was 2001.
Yeah, so Forever said we've just been, this is a fax, wasn't it? How funny. We've just been nominated for Accessory of the Year. We also said, but we'll say thank you for your fantastic teamwork. You have a bit of this award, speaks.
There we go. This is the different shapes used to draw
These are my terrible drawings. This is slightly shaming.
No, I mean, look at it. I mean, that worked.
But we got there, didn't we? We got there.
Yeah, we got there.
So
anyway,
those feathers, that was a feather one.
Yeah, so this was a half crown. So we actually had a crown on the front of the bag and stuff. That's the bow tie bag. Yeah. This is like, I remember.
Do you remember?
Nisha used to actually put all these bits in there, play around with these forks. That's like a real feathers and stuff like that. So yeah, these are some of the other different kind of bags we actually made. This is like the flower bag. There's so many styles we used to do. It's hundreds of different styles. Princess Diana with the mode.
It's so lovely. It's a lovely picture. That she's really happy.
So she had a few bags from us actually, Diana. Yeah. So I'm going to do the lining now, lightly glued, and then that goes onto the piping itself. And now we put the back on. So this is glued. So it's stuck there, and on the back of it, what we're doing is actually just glue the top bit. So this goes onto the back. It's got to be, make sure it's actually just in a straight line. Okay. So make sure it's actually stuck together. So what we have is we've actually got a plate already which is actually embossed with a message. So what we're going to do now is to actually go on to the skiving machine, where we need to skive the top of this leather. Okay, so now we've actually got the original bit. Now we actually tried the thickness of exactly how thick this is, so we won't go wrong, so we won't be messing around with this thing. So all we do is just put it there, and the machine will actually automatically skive this thing exactly to the thinness we need. Okay, so what we need to do is the main aim to actually stick this into its position. So I'm just going to glue this bit on the top and stick it onto the main body, and just hammer it a bit so it actually stays in its place. This is where, so you've got to stitch on the edges of it. So you've got to make sure all the edges are perfectly all the way right around are the same. That's the corners, back stitch. So that is the actual panel with the message on it. So I've actually got this gadget exactly the same size, exactly where I want it, dead on stitching straight right the way through. There we go.
Tricks of the trade, huh?
The tricks of the trade, yeah, there we go. So all I got to do is with a hammer. So now if you see, it's all perfectly lined up. And same on this one. So that will make sure it's just sitting flat now. So the cutting machine is what it's actually going to do is it's actually going to cut the block. This is the cutting block. Lay the block onto the actual leather. I've got actual marking exactly where it's got to sit, and it actually cuts. So I'm just going to slide this thing underneath, adjust this machine a little bit, and off I go. There we go. Where the satin is a little bit on the edges there, because it frays a little bit, because it's very, very fine silk. So we just put a little slight bit of glue there so it won't fray at all. Okay, so now this is the main body. So I'm just going to glue the pocket, and then put this under the message. There you go, this is the inside of the mold. So now we're going to just stitch the pocket, and then we're going to do the back as well. It's got to be dead on straight, coming along nicely. Okay, so that's the pocket sewn, stitched on. Now what we do is the back facing each other. There we go, that is stitched now. So what we're going to do is you just trim this, yeah, because it's got like big edges, just trim that a little bit. We're going to put the bubbles in there. What these bubbles have is they've got a special dot. Yeah, okay, so we've actually put these bubbles in place now. So this is the final bit that goes onto the frame itself. Okay, so what we're going to do is the actual mold itself, the body, this is the main body of the bag. So we're going to turn this inside out. So there's a special folder. So I put that inside the bag to actually make sure it's actually out with the piping. See that is coming along, it's taking the shape. So we just hammer it where the piping is actually been stitched on. Okay, now all we do is just put these flaps back inside, which is going to make the shape of the actual bag itself. So what we're going to do is just put the lining right inside the bag itself. So right there we go. Make sure the shape is right, and there you go. That's the mold without the frame.
And that beautiful hand embroidery from Hand and Lock. It's so amazing,
Yes,
that embroidery.
yes,
An
exactly.
amazing English company
Amazing,
as well.
yeah, brilliant. So now we are actually in the process of framing the actual mold itself. So the main shell is done. So now the main next thing is to actually put the frame inside the bag, so it actually opens and closes. So just making them thin, so it will actually fit in to the actual frame, because the frame opening is quite small. So what we have is we've got the outer shell of the mold actually ready for framing. So where the actual marks are, the actual frame is actually going to go right in there. There you go. If you see the creases, the frame is actually gone right inside exactly where I need it to go. You've got to do is you just make sure it's actually gone in properly from these ends. There you go. It's measured in a way it'll just slip in directly into the frame, and all we do is just press. So what I've done is I've actually just put the frame onto the bag itself, and all the little creases I've actually made inside the bag before we actually put the frame on. So the main test is after you've actually done all your nitty-gritty bits and pieces in there to be precise, all you do is just put the frame together, close. Yeah, once it closes, you can actually see all the edges all along are equal. Okay.
Look at this beautiful thing.
Oh.
I think Lily is going to be a very lucky lady, and you are,
Oh,
frankly,
thank you.
a genius.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Very welcome. Very welcome.